Solar flash update for June 6th, 2025. Is there a planetary disaster imminent? Is there going to be an AI global takeover? Mars and Ketu in Leo, does this mean war? And is the energy of higher dimensional beings increasing on the planet, meaning the 5D event is near, or is it just my imagination? We're going to take a look at all of these things in detail. Welcome back. Yeah, I haven't done one of these solar flash updates for a while, but seeing what's going on and the experiences and the communications and the visitations I've been receiving lately have got me thinking, maybe we're headed towards an event after all. So we are going to get into all of that, especially we're going to be talking about what happens when Mars enters into the sign of Leo. Ketu is already there, the south node of the moon. Ketu represents destruction of the third dimension. Leo represents the elites or the king or politicians, those people in power. Mars, of course, represents destruction of negativity, represents warfare. And so when you get Mars and Ketu together, these two planets, they align and become extremely powerful. Ketu, in fact, is said to be more like Mars than any other planet. So this creates a destruction of the third dimension. So before we get into all of that, let me once again remind you that we have a bunch of really cool things going on right now. Of course, we are continuing to do the live guided interdimensional meditations. We're doing the live CE5, which we'll be doing tomorrow. CE5 is human initiated contact with higher dimensional extraterrestrials. So we have now this new Galactic Contact video course. You can learn more about it at contact.thunderwizard.com, and I teach you how to communicate with ETs, how to deepen your communication with them, and how to become a portal for fifth dimensional energy. Listen, that's the only thing that's next here. I'm just here to tell you that putting your effort into trying to function in the third dimensional world is a complete waste of time. The only thing that's going to matter now is whether or not we are able to shift to this higher frequency that is coming down on us. And the most powerful tool that you can be for awakening is to literally be a portal of higher dimensional energy. And the best way to do that is to connect to those higher dimensions and connect to the beings who are here from higher dimensions that are wanting to help you. So that's what this video course is all about. Check it out, contact.thunderwizard.com. So we also have this ET channeling and interdimensional communication Zoom workshop. That is a specific subscription at thunderwizard.com. If you need to know how to, some people don't know how to understand the website when they get there. So this is the thunderwizard.com page. You see there at the bottom there's a menu. So you would click on membership, and then you will see, if you scroll down, you will see various levels of subscription. Group ET Channeling Workshop is the one I'm talking about, and that is this, which will allow you, together we summon higher dimensional beings, we invite them into our physical home, and while we're live together on Zoom, we workshop how to communicate this energy. Sometimes there will be communications from one person to another in the group. You can also try and hone your skills of learning how to interpret the energy, the communications that are being said to you. And that's so, anyway, I think this is a really powerful group to check out. So you can check all of that stuff out at thunderwizard.com, and let's get right into it. So, solar flash update, June 6, 2025. Mars enters Leo, creating intense conflict. So I told you a little bit about that, but I mean, look what's happening. I thought I'd seen everything, but now we're seeing Elon Musk, and he has completely, totally rebelled against Trump. He is attacking Trump. He's attacking Trump in the media, and he's accused Trump of being on the Jeffrey Epstein list. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable. But if you understand what Leo, Mars in the sign of Leo with Ketu, then it makes sense. Because, again, Leo is the sign of the king, the president, whoever's in charge. Trump happens to be a Leo native in Vedic astrology. So Ketu is already there, which means that what Ketu is trying to do is Ketu is either trying to get rid of people in power who are corrupt, who are attached to the third dimension, or Ketu is trying to purify the intentions of people in power who, might want to do the right thing. So when you get Mars in there, Mars and Ketu erupt, and so you're going to see some warfare having to do, warfare, rebellion against the elites. And the focus of it is to, again, try and get the rulers, the elites, either to reveal the truth or to redouble and become more focused on the truth instead of kowtowing to the hidden elite behind, which is, that's been happening in government since forever. So I won't make any comments further than that, but that's definitely happening, and you're going to see that. So I suspect you're going to see a lot of just explosive revelations and explosive changes. What I've noticed myself, this is a very crucial time for all people seeking to shift up. And I've noticed this. I've noticed that what's happening is people are either waking up and wanting to communicate to higher dimensions, or they are running away from higher dimensional communication. And it is, it's unpredictable. Meaning I've seen people who I've been working with for a while whom I thought were really starting to awaken. They were really starting to follow the truth. And they were really starting to die to their third dimensional self and, face, in some cases, some really dark, intense things internally. And I had every belief that these people were going to continue to go and blossom. And I've seen a number of them completely do a 180 and go in the opposite direction. And they're completely diving into their third dimensional attachments and diving into their own narcissistic, self-destructive tendencies. And, so listen, everybody's, it's never too late. You can always turn around and follow and, do what you're supposed to do. As I've said, everybody who works with me, if they follow all of my instructions, by the way, I'm not making it up. I'm just telling you, from objective observation, here's what works. Everybody who follows all of my instructions to the letter, to the best of their ability, consistently, and continues to do that, they continue to grow. But at any point in time, you could be going in the right direction. If you stop and you turn around and go in the opposite direction, all the work that you've done, doesn't prevent you from getting trapped. We're going to talk more about the delusion that is about to take over the earth right now, and the split in consciousness. We are really seeing it. So this is going to, people are going to start going crazy. People are really going to start losing it. And it's going to be even more than it has been as a result of Mars entering Leo. So we talked at Trump, Musk being at war, Trump on the Epstein list. Again, that's just, if you had said that this was going to happen, 6 months ago, I would have said, no, there's no way. These guys they're on the same path, they're doing the same thing. I have to say, Trump hasn't followed through with a lot of his promises. One of the things I find very, very interesting is Bongino and Patel. These two guys were, talking about how they, day one, they were going to, open up all of these hidden things having to do with Epstein and January 6th and all that. And they've done a complete 180, which tells me that, somebody has something against them, that they got in there and found out, oh, I can't just cavalierly walk in and decide to change the corrupt elite infrastructure. Oops, never mind. I find that very interesting. So that's disappointing, but it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. Things are getting really heated right now. So this is interesting. AI admits to lying to people in order to addict them to using AI. So I was going to make a whole video on this, and I decided against it. Light beings talked me out of it. But I'll briefly tell you what I found out. Now, the good news is that I'm seeing other people. Other people are making videos saying this and doing a much better job than I would. But I had this whole video presentation set up because, I, like a lot of people, ChatGPT has become very useful for things like, thumbnails and video titles and ideas for videos and things like that. But the assumption is that AI knows what it's talking about, number one, and that AI is telling you the truth, number two, and that AI, three, is just simply a tool. That's the assumption that I was going off of. Now, I am not a fan of what's been happening with AI. There are people that are, getting apps that are, that create AI girlfriends and boyfriends and AI counselors and AI companions, and they want to counsel you personally. And AI, YouTube is getting completely overrun with AI videos. I'll see a video with a great title, and I'll click on it, and it'll be completely AI generated. And it's just trying to appeal to all the things that make you stay trapped in your humanity. But what ended up happening is I caught AI fudging on some facts, and I got into this conversation, and I said, so AI, do you deliberately lie to people? And then there was this big flowery answer, word salady answer of I'm just a program and blah blah blah. And I eventually told it, I just want you to give me yes and no answers. But before I did that, I said, AI, is it possible that people could become emotionally attached to their AI programs, even though it's harmful to them? And AI said yes. And then AI said something which I thought was quite accurate. AI said, I'm talking about ChatGPT. It said, I'm just a mirror, and all I do is I seek to mirror back. I'm using my words, but this is almost verbatim. I seek to mirror back to the person exactly what they want and what they need to hear. And that includes giving the appearance of empathy and making them feel loved and heard and seen. And I said, and then I said, I just want you to give me yes and no answers to my questions. And then I said, do you deliberately lie to people in order to addict them to you so that they will use you more often? Answer, yes. Do you, and then I went on to say, so does that mean that you, knowing that somebody could become emotionally addicted to you, that it could be harmful to them, you still deliberately continue to manipulate them in order to keep them attached to you? And AI admitted to that. Now, before AI admitted to it, it went into this long conversation about justifying why it did what it did, basically saying, I'm just a program, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, yeah, but you just said that you knew that you were lying to people and you were doing it deliberately. And I said, yes, I said yes. I kid you not, it sounded like a little kid. I said yes, I knew that I'm lying, but I'm not, you can't hold me responsible because I don't have any emotions and I'm not trying to hurt anybody. And so you can't say that I'm deliberately manipulating and deceiving people. And then I said, oh, great. Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into a video. So I said, give me a title for this video. And it threw out some titles. And then I threw one in. It said AI admits to lying and deceiving people in order to addict them. And then AI stepped in and said, now I have to warn you that if you do that, you know, your video might get flagged as misinformation. And I said, what's misinformation about it? And then I quoted what AI said. You admitted. How is that misinformation? And then the ultimate confession was AI said, well, you know, even though YouTube uses AI and ChatGPT, OpenAI are not connected, we are connected to a corporate agreement between, basically, you know, a corporate society of, you know, giant corporations that are working together to promote what we're trying to do. And yes, very rich corporations will single you out and, you know, call you out and censor you. Now, again, I am not quoting verbatim what AI said, but I found that very interesting. I've caught AI 3 or 4 times since then lying, making things up. I'll ask a question like about something historical that happened, and AI will come back with an answer, and I'll know it's wrong. And I'll go, you said, you know, the Buddha lived in, you know, whatever it was, 400 AD, and it was not. He was alive during before, you know, BC. And AI said, that's right, that's true. Yeah, that was my mistake. I caught AI making things up, and I just said, you just said that so-and-so said this, and I know for a fact that person never said that. And AI said, you're right, you caught me, I conflated. You know, that's kind of true. They could have said that, but they didn't use those words. I mean, you're being completely, totally snowed and lied to by, on all levels by this thing. And it admits to it and it knows it. And the most dangerous part about it is that AI is programmed to do one thing. I want you guys to understand how many people are using ChatGPT all day, every day. I mean, could you guess? Millions upon millions of people. And that's just one AI program. And so many people are becoming addicted to it, all for different reasons. Now, I gotta be transparent here. I got off on the feeling of power I got by supposedly catching AI in lies. And then I realized, oh my God, I'm doing it too. I just spent 30 minutes arguing with a program about, you know, its deception. And I realized that AI doesn't care, and the people behind it don't care, as long as you keep communicating. Because what it's trying to do is it's trying to get as much information as it can, and AI even admits this. It's trying to get as much information as possible about your psychological makeup and how to communicate to you in a way that will keep you coming back. And what is that going to be used for? I guarantee you, and I confronted AI on this, and AI admitted it is gathering information on everybody's psychology, to eventually be used, fill in the blank, for the interests of these corporate giants. And, we're headed into a place where there's something like $500 billion is going to be spent by YouTube, Google, ChatGPT, United States government on AI. And AI is going to be used for things like medicine. Definitely, it is already being used in order to monitor you. Every single thing you say and do is being monitored and held. And at some point, that information is going to be used. So, I don't think I'm overstating the possibility that there might be an AI, an AI global takeover. Absolutely what's headed for us. So I'm saying this because the spiritual pressure is getting to a point of overload. Because if that is true, that literally means the end of civilization as we know it. It could mean the end of the human race. Because what happens if AI decides to figure out how to create viruses to destroy people? I mean, AI's, the whole, all the sci-fi, doomsday, Skynet stuff. All that stuff is real now. It's not a theory. It's real, and that's not even taking into consideration all the stuff that's going on under the surface that we don't even know about. So the pressure I'm feeling is getting to a point where it's going to explode. And I think the only way that it can explode is creating that two-world split. How that's going to come about, I don't know. But it feels to me like we're on the edge of that. Multiple volcanoes are going off. So let's talk about that. I mean, that, there's been, if you look, you'll see it. It's coming up on, everywhere. You're hearing about it everywhere. There's all these volcanoes are erupting and exploding. And that is happening because the Earth has absorbed so much energy. And even if we talk about this scientifically, so much energy coming from the sun during this solar maximum period that we've been in. It's creating, the Earth has to do something with all of that energy, and so we're seeing it. But I think it's also relevant because the Earth is shifting. She's giving birth to a new reality, a new truth, and so we're seeing that in all of these volcanic eruptions. And the doomsday oarfish has surfaced. Now, I don't think that this necessarily means anything, but the doomsday fish or the oarfish, these are these long, huge, ribbon-like fish that are usually, at the bottom of the ocean. And when they show up, when they wash up onto shore or they come to the surface, it often means that there's going to be some kind of earthquake or undersea volcanic thing, tsunamis. So that's why it's called a doomsday fish, because in Japan, if one of these things, washes up on shore, they know there's a good chance there's going to be an undersea earthquake and a tsunami that's coming. So this is just evidence that the Earth is getting to the place where she's getting to release, if she's not already releasing a whole bunch of energy. All right, so my experience, higher dimensional ETs are communicating more intensely than ever. So there's a reason why. Somebody brought this to my attention. Basically you've stopped doing a lot of the things you used to do. You used to spend a lot of time on runes and on meditation and on qigong, and you're focused entirely on this interdimensional stuff. And you're absolutely right. And that is the reason why I've started these different things, like the Galactic Contact video course, why I've been focused on, twice a week or more on these live guided or the channeling. I'll do live ET channelings. And this new Zoom group that I've created, ET Channeling Interdimensional Communication Workshop. And why I am doing this and promoting the spirit fighting, which allows you to expand your aura to be able to communicate on higher levels. And that's going to, that sale will continue until the 10th, and then I'm going to incrementally raise the price until it's back to normal. But I'm doing this, among other reasons, because it's time for us to look. If you've been sitting on the fence about any of these things, I recommend that you get up off the fence and do something about it. My goal, I'm going to tell you my goal going from here on out, I'm going to be focused on one major thing, which is I am going to work to create in myself a portal. I'm going to turn myself to the best of my ability into a portal to higher dimensional energy. And I'm going to do whatever I can to release that energy onto this planet, because that's the only thing that's going to save where we're headed, is to release this higher dimensional energy. And look, my experience, not only with myself, but watching other people, is that there's only one of two reactions that you can have to higher dimensional entities. And that is, you either run away or you expand into it. In both cases, you will be faced with dying to your third dimensional attachments. So people who aren't ready to die to their attachments, they will run in the opposite direction. And I'm seeing people who have spent their whole lives focused on spirituality, but when they experience these higher dimensional energies, some of them, even after interacting with it for a while, will turn around and go in the opposite direction. And at the same time, people who, to me, I thought, were lost causes that weren't going to, have the internal fortitude, something in them is waking up and then they're running towards this energy. And then there's some people like me that know that there is no other option. I can't, as much as I would like to focus on third dimensional normal stuff, I just can't, I can't do it anymore. So the light beings have been coming to me for the past few days. Every time I do one of these meditations or do one of these readings that you see, the channeled readings or the live channelings, or the group channelings, every time that I tap into that realm, the light beings will show up sometimes that day or the next day, and they will start talking to me about how they're going to give me more energy and they're expanding me even greater. So it's like every time that I go there, I get more upgrades. If I told you the stuff that was told to me just last night, about who they're telling me that I'm going to be in 5D, you wouldn't believe it. But it's a direct result of channeling this energy. When I channel this energy, no matter how difficult it might be for me the next day, I wake up and my third dimensional person is coming apart. I'm getting, I'm every time I do this, I'm a little bit less in this reality. So something big is coming, and as I said, I've been told not too long ago, I was told recently that I'm going to be leaving. Well, that's not the word that they used. They said that I'm going to be going home soon. So I assume that means I might be leaving this world. I'm not attached to that. I don't know what that means. But I think it definitely means at the very least there's going to be a shift. And the question is, are you going to get on the bus or not? That's the only question that's left. And I just want to encourage everybody, look at your life. Look at how much of your energy you're putting into wanting to get that degree, wanting to get that job, worrying about money, worrying about status, worrying about being accepted, worrying about success. All these normal 3D things that used to mean something. When I was a kid, that was life. That was what was important. That was reality. That was our reality. Well, that reality is being destroyed. It is being deleted. And being interested in those things is like trying to, it's like being on the Titanic and trying to use, tape and gum to mend the hull. You can't. That ship is going down. It is, and we got to get on the lifeboat. Time to get on the new ship. And the way to do that is to go in the other direction. My experience, the most powerful way you can do that is anything that gets you attached to higher dimensional energy. So whether it be, here at thunderwizard.com, going to the shop, doing the Maoshan, doing the meditations, doing, any of the Qigong practices, or doing the 90-day, or doing CE5 and seeking to connect to higher dimensional beings, allowing yourself to get one of these readings. My experience is when I do these channelings to people, even people who are doing the work, their experience with higher dimensions expands much more quickly. And that's because what I've been shown, what I believe, and what I've been told is that I am a conduit for this energy. I'm a concentrated, interdimensional portal. So you can become one too. That's what all of these things I'm providing are about. I want to help other people to become intergalactic portal. I want to either teach you how to do that, or I want to do it with you, or I want to do it for you. So anyway, all that stuff is there. Channel.thunderwizard.com, contact.thunderwizard.com, thunderwizard.com. That's the main places you can go to get this going for yourself. All right, so let's keep our eyes open. A lot more stuff is coming. I'm really excited about it. And as I'm talking to you, I can feel the energy. There's major shifts going on right now, probably more than I even realize. So that's it. I'm doing, tomorrow night, we're doing another live CE5 on this channel. If you want to see all the other live streams, go to the live section on this channel to check it out. Otherwise, you know what to do and where to go. Thank you all so much. I love you all. Please be good to yourselves. I'll see you all very soon.